my computer, but for some reason the computer never give me my views. So I'm coming to do it this way. Um, I'm listening to a very interesting video. You guys know I've been following the Charlie Kirk assassination, and I'm real big on my girl Candace Owens. I like her a lot, and so whatever comes across, I kind of try to like follow it. Um, so we're gonna listen to this young lady. Her name is. Let me give you her name because I like to give people their credit. Her name is Nisi Nisscee dot social. She's very thorough. You guys, like I said, you guys know I follow Candace a lot, but Nisi, kind of got me sold. I'm gonna probably go check out some more of her videos. So we're gonna listen to her video. She got a video breaking it down of what and when and how things transpired before the assassination of Charlie. Um, and like I said, guys, I really wasn't big on Charlie, but no one deserves to die that way. And it's just crazy how when they can't change your opinion or make you think according to what they want to make you think, their result is to kill you or, imprison you or what by any means necessary to shut you up from sharing your own opinion and your own thoughts. And I think that is something worth listening to, watching, and somewhat even investigating, coming up with your own opinions. Never stop asking questions, especially us as Americans. That is our birthright, is to ask questions, to think freely. So I think this is a really informative video. I wish I could share it visually, but I'm just gonna let you hear it for right now, and we'll go from there.
Get as many people involved as possible. They're going to go after Americans. They're going to go after Saudis. They're going to go after everybody imaginable just to create a big mess and to try to draw the world into it. But I can say concretely here's where I stand and where the MAGA base stands. We do not want U.S. boots on the ground. We do not want American kinetic involvement. This is Israel's war. Amongst the Washington, D.C. and neoconservative, neo imperialist class, especially in the Republican Party, they've kind of shifted gears here. They've shifted gears from Iran should not have a nuclear weapon to Iran should not have an ayatollah. First, it was that Israel is going to take out the nuclear weapon. And then it was, well, America is going to help Israel take out the nuclear weapon. That sounds good, doesn't it? But what have we learned when it comes to wars, and especially wars in the Middle East? What you draw up on a whiteboard rarely happens.
Hello, thank you. Thanks for coming in. So check out the video, guys.
What you think theoretically is going
Like,
to occur,
subscribe, please.
there might be unintended and unforeseen consequences.
So Charlie very clearly did not support war with Iran. Not only did he say this publicly, but on many
Th- Thank you. I appreciate it. Like and share the videos, guys, and also subscribe. I appreciate you guys this morning.
occasions he was having these same conversations with Trump privately. And Charlie is someone who had proximity and influence on Trump.
Charlie Kirk is killed publicly in a very horrific way, and we're not really even allowed to look into that at all. And Charlie Kirk.
Thank you. I appreciate your sub. This is another thing that bothers me. It's like us as Americans have a freedom of speech, freedom of will, freedom of religion. And it seems like certain people just want to control that aspect of humans 100%. And if they can't control it, they have options: either kill you or, silence you, imprison you. And that's scary. So, hello. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Subscribe, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small. You've been in the West Wing.
Yes.
It's small. It's a tight space. And he said, "Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran."
Shy, what's going on? What's going on?
He walked off.
Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe.
He went, I believe, into the Oval. So when one of President Trump's closest advisors, who is vocally advocating for us to not go to war with Iran and for us to rethink at least our relationship with the Israelis, and then he's suddenly publicly assassinated, and we're not allowed to ask any questions about that. It's a data point. It's a data
Why?
point that we need to look into.
Why is that? Why can't we ask questions? Why can't we understand? What's the reason? Who's hiding? What are you hiding? What are you hiding? Like, the only way for us to learn anything is for us to ask questions and get answers, dialogue. But I can't ask any questions about something that doesn't make any sense to me. Doesn't make any sense. It's gonna go. Hi, Carrie. How are you, beautiful? Thank you for coming. We're listening to a little video about Charlie Kirk and how everything's transpired. Like and subscribe, please, guys, and subscribe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Say hi to Carrie, guys. That's my number one moderator there.
Today in 2026 with this nonsensical war that Trump is engaging in with Iran, despite everyone advising him against it, it's not hard to believe that getting someone like Charlie Kirk out the way would have been advantageous to one particular group of people representing one particular cause, Zionism. Do you hear something?
I feel, and I cannot say for sure, but I feel that something was watching and it felt the clock ticking and its opportunity to finally bring about this war, which I think Netanyahu said he's been dreaming of.
What's crazy is that man been trying to go at Iran since like 2005. And what's even crazier, he keeps using the same excuse. Oh, they're 2 years away from a nuclear bomb. Oh, they're 5 weeks away from a nuclear bomb. No, what it was he kept testing that same theory with every American president because he didn't want to do the dirty work. He wanted us to do it. And he finally found a compromised president to do his dirty work. That's what happened. Trump was compromised. Epstein got him in some bullshit, and he can't say no. And so that's what happened. What up, Mr. FUCK? Go ahead and subscribe.
Did say that. So something wanted this war to happen, and there was the perception that the opportunity, the window was closing, so it had to be brought about quickly. Given how public Charlie was on this topic, I can't help but wonder. Now, obviously,
Maria, hello. Please subscribe. Appreciate you coming in.
something
Thank you for coming. Like the
even
video.
considered something. But I will say that after Charlie was killed, Benjamin Netanyahu very quickly denied responsibility for it. I was shocked.
And that's strange too. Like, if I didn't do something, I'm not gonna verbally and rushfully come out and say, "Oh, I didn't do that." Why would I do that if I knew I didn't do nothing? That's dumb. It's strange.
Shocked by this. It did not seem natural.
So Charlie Kirk, this massively influential figure running this multi-million-dollar organization that is taking in money from Zionist donors, was saying things that they didn't like. He was pushing back on going to war with Iran, but he was also pushing back on the Israeli influence in America. And he did this by not only expressing criticisms of Israel's foreign policy when it came to Iran, but he repeatedly platformed individuals who were critical of Israel and questioned Epstein's.
He was smart with that, Charlie was. So he knew that he was getting donorship money, so he didn't want to say what he was thinking. So what he did was had guests on his show and at his events that would say exactly what he wanted to say and what he was thinking, but he couldn't say because they were paying him not to say it. But he said, "Hey, you paying me not to say it, not my homeboy." And so he was smart with that. But it also probably could have got him killed. So you never know.
Take, for example, on July 12, 2025, when he invited Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly to be guest speakers at his TPUSA event in Tampa, and they said this: "He wasn't one of ours."
So he wasn't American, which
Talking
makes
about Epstein.
sense. Saudi or Mossad. Yeah. Which one would you choose?
I guess Mossad, given his connection to Ghislaine Maxwell.
So what does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's possible that that's the reason everything's getting buried, that there is some treasure trove and it's getting buried because
How many people here believe that? Raise your hand. Half the interest of time, let's get to the boring stuff first. Okay. Do you have any opinion on the Epstein situation? You know, I'll be honest, I'm with Ben Shapiro. I think we know enough. We don't need to know anymore. So the real scandal here is who he was working for and where the money came from. That's the actual scandal. And no one will.
I like Tucker Carlson so much more since he left Fox News, and he don't have to follow a narrative that's presented for him, and he can actually think independently and just say what he really feels and what he really believes. I like him and Megyn Kelly so much more now than I did. Like, I'm not in love with them, and that's not where I go for my news. But I like truth. I like independent thinking. So to see them able to make that transition and to be still comfortable in their own skin, that makes me feel good to see that people still grow.
Was it American intelligence? No, was it Saudi intelligence? Was it British intelligence? The intelligence. It's still a foreign country, and it's a fair question to ask. Were you running a blackmail scheme in our country? And I think the answer is yes. So they were asked, and like, we're not going to tell you. And it's like, well, so why are we sending you all this money every year if you won't answer a simple question? If you're actually running a criminal enterprise in our country, which seems like they were, then you should answer the question. And no American citizen should be embarrassed to ask that. It doesn't make you a hater or a wacko. There are some people, I think, administration are like, yeah, really, Jeffrey Epstein, like, is that the biggest thing going on in the world right now? And I think they sort of missed, not all, but some, that it's a metaphor for everything. It's like, how do all these people get so rich in the first place? Not just Jeffrey Epstein, but like, how did Bill Ackman get so rich? Is he really like a market genius? Is he? Is he like $9 billion smart? I know I'm not.
At the same event, some woman who spells her own name wrong, Michelle A. Bachman. I know her name is Michelle, but because she only spells her name with one L, I'm going to call her Michelle A. Anyways, Michelle A. Bachman also spoke at this event, and it didn't go well. When she started,
Not Michelle, not her. I'll show you the young lady that's actually doing the report.
many
Her
people
channel.
walked out of her speech. This obviously
Oh, she's
upset
coming
her,
up.
and it upset Charlie's Zionist donors. In particular, it upset this woman, Lori Cardoza, more. Lori was so mad that she posted this video to TikTok.
With his mocking voice and his mocking laughter, they were horrified by what they saw. I had 3 couples reach out to me who had been to the Turning Point USA conference, and this was in Tampa a couple weeks ago. They called me and said they were horrified by what they saw. Horrified. They saw Tucker Carlson
Because they didn't agree. And why is that? Why,
this person talk.
why do that horrify you? Because they don't agree with you. Like, what's so scary about that? There's nothing scary about not being agreed with. I don't get that. I gotta go get my baby.
Israel praising Qatar with his mocking voice and his mocking laughter. So Tucker gets up and speaks at this conference in Tampa, USA, and right after him comes Michelle Bachmann. Michelle has 5 minutes to make an argument for why we have to stand with Israel to these young people at USA. When she starts talking in our conference about supporting Israel and why America should stand with Israel, the people in the audience start booing her. I spoke with her personally. She said 10% in the room got up and walked out on her. That is shameful. Then Charlie Kirk. This is his event. He's responsible for what people are saying and doing. Does he get up?
No, he's not.
Tucker?
No, he's not. They're responsible for what they say.
How dangerous Qatar is to us? No. Did Charlie get up and defend Michelle Bachmann? Did he condemn the people that got up and walked out on her, that booed her? Did he say why we stand with Israel?
Why is it a problem to disagree with Israel? Why is it a problem? Like they're some spoiled little kid. Why is it a problem? We can agree with any and everything else. We are America. We can agree. We can disagree with our own president, our own governors, but we can't disagree with a foreign nation. What do you mean? We that's what we do as Americans. We have the right to an opinion. We have the right to options. Now all of a sudden I'm supposed to be condemned because I don't agree with someone else's outlook on something or politics about something? No, as Americans we got that right. We don't have to agree with you. The fuck is wrong with you? Like, who said that? What?
No, he didn't. That tells us everything that we need to know.
So Lori wanted everyone to know that she was pissed about Charlie not sticking up for Michelet, but allegedly, she also voiced her frustrations to Charlie directly. Candace Owens received a copy of texts that were sent to Charlie after that TPUSA event in Tampa, and internet sleuths have deduced that Lori Cordoza Moore is the author behind those texts.
I'm going to now read you an unhinged text message that Charlie received, this time from a female Christian donor. All the people that trusted you, Jews and Christians, including me, why would you platform anti Semites like Candace and Tucker? There are many evangelical Christian Zionists who would never give these people the opportunity to spew their hatred. I'm one of them. You say people are accusing you of being an anti Semite because you disagree with the Israeli government. Well, what is it exactly that you disagree with? You threatened Jews and Christians with your 30 million followers. Are you kidding? Be very careful, Charlie.
Sound like a threat to me.
Of the ninth commandment by bearing false witness against your brother Judah. When was the last time you read your Bible, Charlie? I'm coming to you as a believer. Genesis 12:3, Obadiah and many more prophets warn that those who curse Israel will be cursed. Your TPUSA Tampa event was a disaster. Michelle Bachmann was booed, and about 10% walked out on her when she talked about standing with Israel. You brag about how you convinced.
Because she wasn't saying what they wanted to hear. They disagreed. They didn't want to hear it. It's okay. Everyone's not going to agree with you. Your parents teach you that as a kid. Everyone's not going to like you. Everyone's not going to love you. Deal with it.
All these young voters to vote for Trump, but you can't convince them to stand with our Jewish brethren. This is not a joke, Charlie. I'm coming to you as a sister in faith. You have accomplished so much by the hand of the Almighty, but he is going to lift his hand from you. Don't fall for Tucker, Candace, and the rest. The Jews are under attack. God warns us in the last days that he will wipe out the descendants of Edom because they stood by while their brothers, Jacob, Israel, was held in captivity and did nothing. Don't be counted among the Edomites. It will be to your peril, as well as the unfinished work God was going to do through you.
So we know that there were donors who were not happy with what happened that day, but more happened. The next day, after Michelet got booed off stage, Charlie had more speakers. Josh Hammer did a debate against Dave Smith, and here is a little bit of how that went.
Is Israel an ally of the United States? Yes, of course.
No, there's no reason why we even have to be enemies with Iran. They oppose no. This is a third world country in the Middle East that does not have nuclear weapons, does not have intercontinental ballistic missiles, does not have an air force capable of hitting us with anything. This is Israel's problem.
Do you think it would be bad if Iran got a nuclear bomb?
Yes, I think it's bad. I think it's bad.
And I think we can all agree on that. That's a moral
I don't
agreement.
think anybody should be allowed to have nuclear weapons secretly.
Right.
That's secretly
I want to talk about that because that's a not so subtle dig at Israel. However,
Hold on, are you suggesting that Israel has nuclear
I
weapons?
don't know actually. I don't know the intelligence. I'm not that of DNI, but I mean they probably do.
So Dave Smith was very critical of the Israeli government, very critical of wars in the Middle East, especially critical of war with Iran, and the audience was largely on his side. And it pissed off donors and Zionists that Charlie Kirk even allowed Dave Smith to speak at this event. But despite the backlash, Charlie Kirk continued to platform individuals who weren't fully in support of Israel. On July 25th, 2025, he published a video of a focus group he did with young conservatives, and here are a few moments from that video.
Okay, we're going to play a word association test. What's the first word that comes to mind when you hear Israel?
Judaism.
Aid.
Netanyahu.
Tax
Liability.
Sacred.
Tax dollars.
Conflict.
Complex. Controversial.
Scary.
Strategic. Mossad.
So, Mossad, of
Yes.
all the different things that would come to mind, why does their intelligence service come to mind?
Reminds me of the CIA. You know, it has the CIA, you have the CIA involved with RFK. I mean, there's rumors going around maybe Mossad was a part of the Epstein files, if maybe Mossad was a part of things that we don't know about. And they're just like the Central Intelligence Agency, they are out there doing things that none of us know about.
If you call everyone an anti-Semite, if they don't take a puritanical view of the Netanyahu government, then I think it's bad for everybody. And I found this now over 13 years. It's a great truth you guys can learn for the rest of your life. Anybody that tells you we have a messaging problem, you should go a step deeper and ask another question. being like, what, are you actually doing something wrong? Or are you bad at messaging it?
I don't vote
Because
for
people
nobody.
that are doing bad stuff will sometimes be like, well, we're just not presenting it correctly. Sometimes that's true. Or sometimes they're actually.
So because I have my own opinions, don't mean I voted for anybody. I don't vote for no one. I didn't vote for Biden. Who is that? BMK, whatever the fuck you are. Yeah, I didn't vote for no one. Well, we can talk about it though. We can talk about it though. I didn't vote for Trump, nor did I vote for Kamala. We can talk about it. I don't hide mines. You feel me? But because I don't believe like you or I don't think like you doesn't make me a horrible human being. I hope you don't think I'm a horrible human being because I don't think and believe like you.
Surface.
So, just to recap, in late spring and early summer, Charlie Kirk was aggressively advocating against war with Iran. He was urging Donald Trump to exercise restraint, and he did this publicly and he did this privately in conversations with Trump. On June 22nd, 2025, Operation Midnight Hammer happens, also known as the 12-Day War. Israel bombs Iran. Trump also orders strikes on Iran from the US military. And once again, Charlie Kirk is one of the voices urging for it to not go any further. This, as we all know, is something that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't want. He wants a full change regime war in Iran, and he has wanted it for like 40 years. The point that I'm trying to make is that Charlie was creating enemies back in the summer of 2025. But something else that also started happening around this time are some very interesting Google searches.
When was the first time you heard the name Tyler Robinson or the Losi Center? A Mauser 98. For me, and I assume many of you, it was in the days and weeks after Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination on September 10th. But what if I told you somebody, maybe multiple somebodies, were searching those terms before September 10th?
Before the shooting. Well, there's Washington, D.C. at 11 a.m.
That's crazy. Like, it's crazy how you, if you dig for breadcrumbs, you'll put together a whole piece of bread. This is crazy.
The day
This
before
should be
the
a movie.
Kirk shooting.
This what happened should be a fucking movie. For real. It should be a movie.
And you'll see here where the news finally broke that it was, in fact, Tyler James Robinson. But notice that. That's weird. That's weird.
You guys have heard. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, 3 times is enemy action.
That's the medical examiner. It is a woman named Dr. Deidre Weiss Amaro, and she blew in from California. She was announced as the new state medical examiner in May of 2024.
The craziest thing about it all is they fired a good FBI, head chief of staff, whatever, and then bring in Cash Patel, who's incompetent. I mean, they set this thing up. Like, they tried to set it up really strategically, but the internet is undefeated. They messed up when they let us see it happen publicly. If they wouldn't let us see that happen publicly, they wouldn't get this type of this type of lashback. But due to the fact that they let it happen publicly, it gave all of us a right to our opinions, our right to investigate, and now we're digging up shit and we're finding stuff.
I'm interested in learning as much as I can about this medical examiner. I'd like to know more about this medical examiner.
You know who else wanted to know more about Dr. Deidre Amaro? It's our friends over there in the state of Israel. But check out this date, June 30th, 2025. A sudden spike in the interests of the head medical examiner of the state of Utah, Dr. Deidre Amaro, emanating from, once again, the state of Israel, for reasons unknown. What about Timpanogos Regional Hospital, the hospital where Charlie Kirk was declared dead? Well, there's pretty much no interest in Timpanogos Regional Hospital in the state of Israel because why would there be? Except this spike that happened about a month before Charlie Kirk's death. That is very odd. And it was a surgeon from this hospital that told us that Charlie Kirk was a quote-unquote man of steel and that his body stopped a bullet that would typically just go through everything, and it was an absolute...
Which is such bullshit. 30-06, stop the bullet. Going, man, shut the fuck up. Bullshit.
Absolute miracle. We don't know yet which surgeon supposedly said that, but here are a few surgeons who work at Timpanogos Regional Hospital. We got Dr. Stephen Nealman, Dr. Robert Patterson, Dr. Lee Peterson, Dr. Lee Trotter.
Please subscribe, Josh. Please subscribe. I appreciate you.
Stephen Nealman. July 18th, 2025. This was that of our friends on the other side of the planet over there. Very curious about the surgeons in Utah, you'll find out. Robert Patterson, MD. July 23 and 24. I go to the next one, Lee Trotter. Someone with an IP address originating in Israel. Looking up surgeon Lee Trotter. Near about that same July 20 time period. Are there other surgeons in the area? Yeah, as a matter of fact, there is. There's a guy named Lee Patterson. So I look up Lee Patterson. Somebody with an IP address originating in Israel. In the week of July 20, that week on either side of July 20, was very interested in all the people who practice surgery at Timothy Regional Hospital in Orem, Utah.
So yeah, I don't know. We can either believe that there just happened to be a few people in the state of Israel in the month of July and August who were very interested in finding out more about a certain regional hospital in the state of Utah and who the state's head medical examiner was, and the different surgeons in the area. Or maybe there's just one too many coincidences to not investigate further. Oh, and by the way, I just checked what Google Trends looks like now. And yeah, looks like absolutely nothing to see here, guys.
So August is where the story really heats up. So much stuff happens in August, and it may be a coincidence. I will leave that for you to decide. From August 4th to the 5th, Bill Ackman, the man who Tucker had roasted at that TPUSA event.
How did Bill Ackman get so rich? Is he really like a market genius? I know him now.
So Bill Ackman hosted a bunch of people in the Hamptons, including Charlie Kirk. And the story goes that at this meeting, Charlie was being bullied by Zionist donors.
And more people started talking, and people were talking to me. And these were people who had knowledge of a tumultuous, stormy meeting held in the Hamptons during the first.
So this is when they started seeing that his messaging was changing. The messages that they were paying, the messaging that they were paying for started to change. And they had to put him back in check. They had to crack the whip. And Charlie wasn't going for it. He actually had morals and stood for something, which is pretty awesome in today's society when people are easily bought off. Or yeah, they're just basically bought off. You know what I mean? They don't stand for anything. They don't have a backbone. Give me some money and I'll do what you say. Nah, not good.
By the billionaire ultra-Zionist financier Bill Ackman, who's close to Netanyahu and his kind of network in the United States. Charlie Kirk was summoned along with an array of young, sort of vapid, very avaricious conservative influencers who seem to be sort of in Israel's back pocket to set a very pro-Israel tone for this meeting. And Charlie Kirk was, according to one source, hammered by Ackman and others for allowing Israel critics, very prominent conservative voices like Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, or the anti-Zionist Jewish comedian Dave Smith to appear at his events. According to multiple sources, had this meeting to basically bully Charlie Kirk into submission. Charlie Kirk walked away, according to one person, feeling like there was an attempt to blackmail him. He refused any offers of funding and also refused the offer to travel to Israel and meet with Netanyahu.
It was also reported that during that August 4th excursion in the Hamptons, Charlie Kirk spoke on the phone to Bibi Netanyahu, and Bibi offered Charlie Kirk a ton of money, and he offered to take TPUSA to the next level. And Charlie said,
Bibi looked like a grown baby. He's funny looking.
No. It should also be noted that according to Charlie's very close friend, Tucker Carlson, Charlie didn't even like Bibi.
He didn't love Bibi, that's for sure. Sorry. Anyone who claims otherwise is lying or doesn't know.
So during that trip, it does seem like Charlie Kirk, allegedly, in my opinion, created more enemies. On August 6th, so the next day after the Hamptons trip, Charlie Kirk talked to Megyn Kelly and he spoke about the backlash from the Dave Smith debate, and he spoke about the way that he was being
fired up on this one. Listen to what he says. He was fired up. He was mad as hell.
Treated by the Zio donors.
In your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel. Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that. Megan, I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel both on campus, on social media. The way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat. literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you?
You can feel it in his voice that he was distraught. He was under pressure. He was not comfortable. He was not in a comfortable place. He comes across as if he feels betrayed. But what's crazy is less than a month later, the ultimate betrayal comes and he get killed publicly. Crazy.
What am I doing? My moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go. I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. If I have any deviation of a purity test, any deviation whatsoever, such as hosting a focus group, right, Megan, with a bunch of our students that went viral, having Dave Smith or Tucker at my event, it is all of a sudden, oh, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. So wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly? Right? I'm an American, okay? Hostile reaction. Is that now Megan and Charlie are enemies?
Right.
Boy, I'll tell you, like you're not gonna, I wouldn't say lose, but you will weaken and just basically deflate.
And the more you try to tell me I can't criticize Israel, the more likely I am to do it, to focus on exactly what you're doing, right? Like what are you doing that you're so defensive? You don't own me. I don't take $1 of money from any Jewish affiliated group. That's never been.
So clearly, Charlie was feeling the pressure of the donors, and in my opinion, his body language in the podcast shows someone who was very distressed. And oh, I forgot to tell you something very important, but surely was a coincidence. Now, in my opinion, this is very strong circumstantial evidence to support the idea that there was a conspiracy to take out Charlie. As many of you guys know, America has this little thing called the FBI, and this beady-eyed motherfucker, Kash Patel, was the director of the FBI back in August of 2025, and he still is as I am making this video today. And on August 5th, 2025, Kash Patel, for no good reason, at least not one that he has articulated to anyone, forced out the head of the Salt Lake City, Utah FBI office, Maytab Syed. Keep in mind, the request for Charlie to appear at the campus event in Utah was submitted in mid-July. Mind you, it wasn't announced officially until August, but the request was submitted in mid-July. A few weeks later, the head of the Utah FBI is then fired. Interesting coincidence. Just to add more context for why this was noteworthy, she had been appointed during the Trump administration, so it's not like she was someone who was appointed under Biden and was a holdover. I bring this up because many FBI employees were fired at the request of Donald Trump as retribution for investigations that they had done that he didn't agree with. However, Maytab Syed doesn't appear to be one of those people. No good reason or even bad reason has been given for why she was forced out. This woman was qualified. She had been.
That's why she was forced out, because she disqualified and she was gonna find things out that other people who aren't qualified and who aren't as diligent will ever find out.
Working for the FBI for over 2 decades, and by all accounts, she was great at her job. She has been described as legendary. She had experience in cyber terrorism, counterterrorism, she had experience with intelligence agencies, and more. So she was very much qualified to have her job. And it makes you wonder if that is the reason that she was forced out, because she was too qualified and because she was going to do her job properly. So August 5th, Maytab is forced out of the FBI, and a week later, on August 13th, Harrison Smith from InfoWars posted this tweet. I'm not gonna name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. So on August 13th,
That's big. And this is like months before it happens. That's huge.
Harrison Smith made that tweet, and now I want to fast forward to August 27th, because August 27th is also a very important date in the timeline. Number one, August 27th was the date that the Utah Valley event was officially announced. Something else that happened that same day was this FARA agreement was drafted. For those of you who are not familiar with FARA, it stands for the Foreign Agents Registration Act, and the simplest explanation is that this is a U.S. law that requires people or organizations organizations working on behalf of a foreign government or group in the US to disclose what they are doing. And on August 27th, we see that a FARA agreement was drafted. And this document has some very interesting coincidences, which I'm sure are coincidences, but for shits and giggles, I'm going to mention them to you. So, like I said, August 27th was the day that this agreement was drafted. It's also the same day that the Utah Valley event was announced. This document was signed on September 8th, 2025. And this was the same day that Charlie Kirk was in the group chat saying that he had no choice but to leave the pro Israel cause. And the document was filed on September 18th. And that is the same day that Erica was announced as the new CEO of TPUSA.
Wow.
Are you kidding me? Stop it.
This document does conveniently or inconveniently have plenty of dates that line up. And what's noteworthy is that this document was signed by Brad Parscale, disclosing that he was representing Israel's interests to Gen Z on behalf of the state of Israel. And Brad Parscale was the chief strategy officer at Salem Media. And he also previously worked on the Trump campaign, but Brad Parscale, like I said, was the chief strategy officer for Salem Media, and Salem Media was the distributor for the Charlie Kirk show. So it could be coincidence that BB offers Charlie money and Charlie says, and shortly after this agreement was drawn up. It could also be a coincidence that all of those dates lined up and Brad Parscale taking money from that pesky government overseas to do Hasbara is just completely unrelated. It is very possible that this is
They was buying Charlie out from the inside. They got Charlie done from the inside out, man.
all a big coincidence. I just noticed it and I wanted to share it with you guys. On September 2nd, the new head of the Salt Lake City FBI starts his job, and we all know how that's been going so far.
We were stopped from continuing to investigate. And the FBI will say that they stopped that because they wanted to have turn everything over to the Utah state authorities. Everything's going to trial. It's very, very sensitive. But there was still a lot for us to look into that I can't really get into. But there was still linkage for us to investigate that we needed to run down. And I'm not making any conclusions. I'm not saying
No, I don't think you.
because of this happened. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying there's unanswered questions.
Something else that happened on September 2nd was this internal memo was circulated at TPUSA. Charlie Kirk was letting everybody know that he was doing a Doge-style audit of the TPUSA financials. On September 9th, Charlie does a podcast with someone who probably should file a FAR request, the eyebrow king himself, Ben Shapiro.
Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we couldn't believe everything the media says because.
And the next day, Charlie was killed under questionable circumstances. And at the memorial, Tucker Carlson, someone who was very good friends with Charlie, shared this message.
And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power. And he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people. And they hate it. And they just go bonkers. They hate it. And they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea. Why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem.
After watching this video, I'm sure you have figured out my theory on what really happened to Charlie. I think he created enemies and it wasn't furries. There were people who didn't want him in Trump's ear, and I believe those same people wanted control over TPUSA so that they can continue to use it to launder Hasbara. They probably didn't anticipate that we would be asking all of these questions, though.
Nope, they didn't.
And I think the reason that so many people at TPUSA have been complicit in the cover up is because they were stealing money from TPUSA. I don't have concrete proof of this.
They were.
I'm just saying this based off of what I have read in the publicly available financial statements. There are many shell companies that are listed as vendors, and these companies are receiving large sums of money, and these companies don't have an online presence, they don't even have a physical address. So it just seems like a very plausible explanation that there was embezzlement happening. And since those individuals don't have clean hands or morals, they are going down with the ship.
They're processing their guilt in the way that
Their grief.
their grief. Thank you. And
Also, I think Erica is a honeypot. Just my opinion. I spoke about this more in depth in my Patreon video. I do Patreon exclusive content. In case you want to check that out, me down below. It's also a way to support the work that I do. In case
I love it. I love it, folks. There you guys have it. I just thought that was a great video. I'm tired. I just got off of a 12-hour shift. Thank you guys for showing up. All I can say is wow. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell another friend to come on in. We got room, and I promise I'll treat everybody well. Till next time. Smooth gang. Out.